Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Today, we're going to talk about MK Ultra. Let's watch some stuff.
Terrifying things that our own government did to us in our past. Here we go. Starting in 1953, the CIA illegally experimented on U.S. and Canadian citizens. The project was called MK Ultra, or Operation Mind Control. The government recruited over 80 institutions and over 150 researchers to do their dirty work for them. They were using biological and chemical agents on their participants, but the worst of all was the LSD experiments. They would use prisoners, mental patients, and even drug addicts for these experiments. This scene in Stranger Things is actually taken from the MK Ultra experiments, where one patient was given LSD for 174 days in a row. Heroin, morphine, alcohol, marijuana were all used as well. They say that the experiments lasted all the way until 1973. Some people, like Ken Kesey, actually volunteered for this, which led to the electric Kool-Aid acid test in the 1960s.
So our government-run mind control test, MK Ultra, went on for quite a while, actually. And I completely forgot about the whole LSD part of it. And there's a lot of other psychotropic drugs that they used on just about anybody that they can get their hands on, really. As far as the electric Kool-Aid acid test, I got the book and I got like 5 chapters in and then I stalled out. I have a real difficult time reading. I'm so sorry. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by today. Don't look at that. I cut myself with my fingernail. I went tap and it just went like cut. So that's how that happens. If you're having a good time, won't you please hit that like button and consider subscribing and then come back tomorrow because I'm making a new video every day. Stop looking at it. Stop looking at it.
Alright, Gideon Core wants me to talk about MK Ultra. So back during the Cold War time, the CIA was convinced that the Soviets actually made a mind-controlled drug. So they sought out to find a way that they can control minds of other people. The methods they used ranged from high-voltage electric shock, psychological warfare, and even LSD. In 1975, the CIA was exposed for this MK Ultra project. And before anyone can investigate, the director of the CIA made sure all of the files were destroyed, so we're not really going to know the full story of whatever happened. However, popular television shows have alluded to MK Ultra, such as Stranger Things with this newspaper in the show right here, and 11 being an MK Ultra project in the show. Whether the CIA confirmed mind control is possible or not, this opened the door for a lot of things for them. They tried further experiments after this to see if humans had superpowers or not. What do you guys think?
You're going to notice some redundancies in today's episode, little bits here and there. It's interesting how Russia was like, hey, we got a drug. I mean, no, they're not like, hey, we got a drug, but you can hear them. Psst, psst, psst. Hey, Russia's got a drug to control their minds. And then America's like, hey, we should probably try to figure that out as well because Russia does that a lot. They're like, hey, I bet if we act like we have something, they'll go over there and they'll try to actually make it. Because that's what happens, right? They have telepathy where they can move things and suddenly they have this drug where they can control people's minds and then they're going to space. Probably not necessarily in that order, but it is absolutely interesting how many times Russia's like, hey, we have something, and then we're like, crap, we want that. Let's figure out how to do it.
The CIA wanted to take control of people's minds, and they realized it was a 2-part process. First, you need to blast away the existing mind, and second, you need to find a way to insert a new mind into the resulting void. This is what's known as Project MK Ultra, the most sustained search in history for techniques of mind control. After World War II, the tension between the 2 emerging superpowers, the US and the then Soviet Union, was at an all-time high. The threat of nuclear war was hanging over everyone's head and ultimately the end of civilization. Technological progress didn't stop at the atom bomb, and both sides were continuing to invent bigger and badder weapons. But what both sides knew is that the most dangerous weapon was information, and the US became increasingly concerned that the Soviets had discovered a drug or technique that would allow them to control human minds. In response, the CIA began its own secret program to search for a mind control weapon they could use against their enemies. The experiments were covertly funded at universities and research centers, as well as American prisons and detention centers in Japan, Germany, and the Philippines, and the subjects endured procedures including electroshock and high doses of hallucinogens. Going back to the 2-part process of mind control, it said they were extremely successful at blasting away the existing mind, but they didn't get too far on replacing it. In the 1960s, Project MK Ultra was shut down, and due to its top secret nature, we will never know just how many people were affected by it.
I especially love the part where they were pretty good at blasting away the brain, but not so much at replacing it. That is absolutely hilarious. They were only able to get this. Let's destroy the brain first, and then we'll replace it. Don't worry about figuring out how we're going to replace it once it's destroyed. Let's just work on blasting it. I'd like to have some mind blasting, please. That sounds lovely. I didn't know that they were actually doing experiments on prisoners in Japan, Germany, and the Philippines as well. I mean, leave it to the American government to stick their fingers wherever they want.
So, like, some of the victims that they were doing it to would, after they would have these long, crazy sessions of manipulation and torture, basically, when they would come to the next point, they were able, like, I'm sure people have seen in the movies where people walk up, you see, like, the secret agent movies, and you see the person go, you know, someone just randomly shows up to the main character wearing a trench coat and sunglasses and is like, the sky is blue and the chair sits still. And it's like the activation code to make you lose your, like, you know, to make you go away and the other you come out.
I think that's kind of like The Manchurian Candidate. It's an excellent movie with Liev Schreiber. Very handsome dude. And it's also a little bit like Zoolander. Kind of the same thing where certain words are said and then they, you know, flip the switch.
Oh, good heavens.
You're doing fine. Just try to describe it.
Oh, you don't know. You want to give yourself, such. How do you feel inside?
Inside. I'm really inside.
Nobody explained it to me. Nobody ever asked me if I was willing to do it or anything.
They put me on sleep treatment. And now they kept you asleep for 23 days. And while I was asleep, they were shocking the heck out of me with electric shocks and playing tapes.
Why is the responsibility? Why responsibility? Why?
It was really like a concentration camp.
I want to talk to you about it. You want to find it this way?
You look that way. There's nothing for you to watch here, but you're going to talk to me as we go along.
They couldn't go any further because CIA Director Richard Helms destroyed all the CIA's MKUltra documents, and they had to rely on coached witnesses. So they were never able to dig even deeper. What they got was bad enough. It was never terminated. There's no evidence that it was ever terminated. No documents, no nothing, and not even an admission by the CIA that it's been terminated.
How do you feel?
I'm feeling better, thank you.
Feeling better? Are you sleeping well?
Yes, I'm sleeping better now.
We could disable a whole city by putting a very small amount on a water supply. After all of these years of us, those of us who are involved in looking for this secret drug, this was the only thing that began to look for the first time like it might be something like that.
I had seen those LSD tests before where it's just like a regular housewife and they're like, oh, you know, we're going to give you this. And she drinks a glass of water and with the LSD in it, she just sits and talks about her experiences and with the guy as well. I know that in the official report, like 95, something like that, people had actually volunteered, but there was like 16 people that were not like, they were non-volunteers. And then they were put through like the interrogations, like they would ask them questions and stuff and put the bright light on them and, you know, question them thoroughly or whatever it is. So that's like what happened. But I'm willing to wager that it was far worse than that. And it's probably still going on. And if they did want to put some of that stuff like in the water in a populations are way different now. So like cities and stuff, it's way different now. We're so like on top of each other as far as buildings and stuff. I am getting so distracted. If they wanted to put it in the water, it would be difficult. That's pretty much it. I don't think that LSD would debilitate any population of people that I know of. I don't know. But I've never tried LSD, so let me know. Would LSD put in the water? Wouldn't that screw everybody up?
One of the goals of MKUltra was mind control. Through a combination of hypnosis and hallucinogenic drugs, along with torture, a human being can be programmed to do anything. When the human subject is activated by pre-hypnotic suggestion, The deeply planted programming takes control, and the subject then executes a mission in secret. When the mission is complete, he will have no memory of it. The pre-hypnotic suggestion is also known as a trigger. The sleeper agent is activated by his controller or handler. The handler may use a trigger word or trigger symbol, at which point the unwitting subject becomes a robotic slave, also known as an alter, that is, an alter ego. The trigger may be delivered in person or over the telephone, radio, or TV.
So maybe the government did get past the whole blasting the mind part and get the new mind put in there that they can control with these trigger words. And then it turns them into their alter. And then they go and do weird stuff because we need people to do weird stuff and then not remember it. Reminds me of a movie. A lot of movies, actually. And then there's even a movie 2 years ago that was called MK Ultra. Believe it or not, a lot of people, including myself, believe that this MK Ultra never really ended. And there actually are people out there that can be flipped. Maybe it's not in that dramatic of a manner. Maybe they remember what they're doing. They know what they're doing, but it's here's your mission, go do it kind of thing. So that's a little different than just flipping the switch and not knowing what's going on. And then you flip back and you have no recollection of it. There's a lot of people that also believe that a lot of people in show business are controlled by this MK Ultra. And here's a few examples of that just because I think they're funny. They've all had their minds blasted and now they're controlled by the government. They're government pawns put in place to do something fantastic, right? Like entertain us, I guess. And I don't know, are we supposed to follow them? Are they supposed to create a cult following? Is that what it is? I really don't know. I don't understand why they would be controlled by the government. You'd think politicians, yes, 100%. That's where my money is. It's on the politicians. That's where I believe they're controlling people in the brain, but not necessarily, movie stars or anything like that. I want to apologize really quick for today. I don't have nearly as much energy as I usually do. Just haven't quite been feeling myself for a minute. So I'll get back to it. Anyways, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things. It's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.